I am very lucky right now to be joined in the studio by the godfather of electronic music, Gary Numan. How you doing, mate?
Doing very well, thank you. Very
Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, I've only been here a few hours actually, but I'm loving it already.
I know, that's what I love about this guy, is that he's only really just touched down, and you've still come into the studio and you look bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
Do I?
Yeah.
Really?
What's your
I
secret?
look better than I feel.
What's your secret there?
I just love it. I love doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's when you start doing it, it's all a bit weird, and you know, you're away from home and you miss home and all that sort of stuff. Then after a while,
yeah,
it just becomes a way of life, and then you miss not doing it.
Yeah.
And I've been in that position for decades now, and I love it. I absolutely love doing this for a living.
Well, New Zealand love having you back, guys. What was the last time you were here, man? It was a long time ago.
1980. I think it was June 1980.
Is that 31 years ago?
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
Wow. What took you so long to come back? You know that we love you over here, right?
Yeah. My career started really well.
Yeah.
And then it went down the toilet really quickly.
Oh, let's not go that far.
Well, I did. No, I'm brutally honest with myself. You know, I don't try to pretend anything different. It started really well.
Yeah.
You know, we had #1 singles now. It was really amazing. And then it went very bad for quite a long time, to about 92, 93.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's been slowly picking back up again.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I spent a long time just trying to, you know, recover.
Yeah.
Be back to who I was. I've never lost my love for it, and I've never stopped doing it. But the opportunities that I've had to play overseas and so on have been few and far between, really, in some countries.
Yeah.
Here, obviously, being one of them. So I'm just grateful that I've been invited back now, and it seems to be doing okay.
I like that you kept at it. You know, like most musicians would just like throw in the towel. Like if you felt like it was going down, but you didn't. What kept you going? Was it the love of the music?
I started doing this as a hobby. You know, when I was a teenager, I did it for the love of doing it,
yeah.
And luckily, it became a career. But it doesn't mean that you stop loving it. It does change, actually. You know, you kind of have to refine that early,
yeah,
sort of innocent enthusiasm you have for it, I suppose, because it all gets a bit big business at some point. You've got to be careful for that.
Yeah.
But you just love it. You know, it's the thought of not doing it never occurred to me. If I didn't do it for a living, I'd do it for a hobby.
Yeah.
I will do. You know, when this is all finished and I'm 75 years old and dodging about, I'll still be doing it for the fun of it.
That's cool.
I think, anyway. I
no, that's cool. I hope you do. I hope you do. Now you're here to play a one-off show. You're playing the entire record of the Pleasure Principle.
Yeah.
Is it? Are you going to do it in a particular order, or how are you going to do that?
We do it slightly different to the album. The Pleasure Principle is the reason we're doing it is it was the 30th anniversary of when the album first came out.
Yeah.
So I could either have just ignored it, or I can go out and sort of celebrate the fact that it's become quite a well-known record over the years.
Exactly.
And lots of people do cover versions of it. So we do the first 40 minutes of the show is Pleasure Principle. Lots of keyboards and all that sort of stuff lying around. And then the second half, the next 40 minutes, is much more devoted to more recent stuff. There's 2 albums coming in the near future, so we're doing songs from both of those albums, plus a few more older stuff.
Nice, so we can expect some new stuff.
Yeah, it kind of sort of bookmarks where I am. Your Pleasure Principle is when it started, and what's going on then, and then it brings right up to where I am now and what's in the future for me. So it's not just doing an old album. That's kind of an excuse to get people in. And you're playing some other stuff they probably don't want to hear, but we'll see.
Oh, I'm sure they really want to hear it, man. I think a lot of people are really stoked that you've come back. 31 years though, I still can't get it. Why did you take so long to come back, mate? Why so long?
I'd love to have come back before, but you know,
you've always got a place here.
I thought we'd go back to England, you know, sort it out, get my feet back on the ground in England, and then, you know, start again, because I realised I made a few mistakes and so on. And then it took me 25 years to get myself sorted out in England. I just got that sorted. So now, you know, everything's cool there. And
but you did it.
I've seen about 50 careers come and go in the time I've been just trying to sort of sort myself out. I'm not made for this, you know. I love it and all that, but when it comes to commercial decisions, I'm just the world's worst. I made the most stupidest decisions. Still would probably if I didn't.
That's all part of the learning curve, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. But how long is it going to take? I'm going to be dead soon.
No, don't speak like that. All the Numanoids will be going crazy.
I haven't got enough time left to learn as much as I need to learn to do this properly for a living. I shoot myself in the foot with every other decision that I make, but it doesn't change anything. I still love it. You know, I still love doing it.
That's so cool. The love, you do it for the love of it. Now, I just want to quickly know, growing up, what were some of your influences musically?
When I first got interested in music, first bands I suppose would have been T-Rex and David Bowie, that sort of people. I mean, I was people before that, but when I really wanted to do this for a career, you know, for a living, T-Rex was the main one for me actually. When I got interested in electronic music, I was listening to a band called Ultravox quite a lot. The early version of Ultravox with John Fox as the singer, you know, not the mid-year one. Wasn't so keen on that. And then in later years...
but now who would influence you?
9 Inch Nails, I guess, would be the biggest thing for me.
But they've cited you saying that you influenced them, and now vice versa. That's quite cool, isn't it?
One of the reasons that we're doing the Pleasure Principle thing is because of talking to Trent Reznor about, you know, how he felt about the album. Yeah. And I thought, you know, there's something like him, who I admire massively, something like him can have such positive feelings about it, then maybe I should look at it again myself, because I never thought about it much. I made it in 1979, put it out, and then got on with the next one. Yeah. And then the next one. And I didn't think about it at all until it came time for it to be this 30th anniversary. And that coincided with, I did a lot of work with 9 Inch Nails that year as well. Wow. And it made me think again about the album, so I went back and listened to it some more and thought, you know, it's not the forgettable thing I thought it was. It was actually quite quirky, quite an unusual sort of record, and I learned to be proud of it kind of 30 years after I made it, really, which is nice for me. It's been more fun.
Never, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been more fun than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, because nostalgia's not really my thing, and I thought it was going to be an embarrassing nightmare. Yeah. But it's actually been good fun, and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming and having a chat to us. I've just before you go, because speaking of influences, one of my favourite Kiwi pop duo. Electronic music. Yeah. These guys here were heavily influenced by you as well, and so I thought I'd give you a little Kiwi gift. There's some Kiwi music there from Here's What Me Dead. In every interview that I've seen from them, they say that you heavily influence them. So
really?
That's good to know that you're stretching across the globe.
Yeah, that's great. I'm quite proud of that, actually. Yeah. That's quite cool. Thank you.
Hey, Gary, thank you so much for coming in and having a chat to us. Make sure you're not a stranger and keep coming back here. I don't want to see you in another 31 years.
No, I hope to. I hope we can come back regularly. Right. I hope so, really.
I want it sooner.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Right now, we've got a smash hit from this man right here. It's Cars.